Okay, I believe that I'm live streaming. Okay, so I'm live streaming right now, and I I'm not very good with streaming. I'm not very good with like knowing how to check my Twitch streams. But what I want to do is I want to see because I got my iPhone here. So I want to see if I can go to my Twitch app and I want to see on here if I am live here. Okay. It looks like I'm live. Yeah, because I see that I'm live there. Okay, and I hope that the internet doesn't cut out on me. I really hope it doesn't. I hope this stream goes well. It appears to be going well, and I want to share. How do I share this? Um okay, yeah, I got the Okay, let's see here. Trans. Okay. Okay, yeah. Right now, I'm still kind of setting up the stream. Before I get into my topic today, I just want to let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna add for tags. I'm gonna add transgender. I'm gonna add vegan, and okay. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So well. Okay. Transgender vegan are. Wait a minute. Oh, they didn't save. Yeah. Forgive me. I'm trying to. Okay, transgender and vegan are good tags to start out with here. Okay. Gonna save. Okay. Oh, I have one viewer. Okay. There's one viewer. But is that viewer me or is it somebody else? If you are a person, um, if you are something went wrong. Okay, that's strange. Wait, am I still live? Am I still live? I don't know. I may have to edit things later. It says I'm streaming. Okay, it appears that I'm streaming. See, I don't know how the technology works here. I really not very good at this, but okay. So like if I raise my hand, I raise my hand and I see it on the camera feed on my computer, but then I also see it on my iPhone. So apparently I'm still live. I'm not good at this. Okay, I'm not really good. How do I share? How do I? Let's see. I want to share. I don't know how this works. I really don't, but I do have some things I want to talk about, but I want to explain um let's see. How in the world do I share this? I don't know. I don't even really know how to share a stream, but that's interesting. Okay. So, here's what I'll just do is I will have to give up on the whole um yeah, so I'll have to give up on trying to figure that out cuz I know that if people do follow me on Twitch, they'll probably be notified that I'm live. Twitch is very weird, but so anyway, I want to talk about just a few things. First of all, I am using my MacBook Pro that I got from school to stream this. That's what I'm using here, and I just wanting to make sure that everything is going according to plan here. In fact, what I may want to do because I but and while I still set up the stream before I get into my main topic for this episode, I want to I want to check I want to check out. I'm gonna open a web browser if I can. Okay, and see, I don't know the controls of a MacBook very well. I don't know the controls very well, but let's see here. So I'm totally new to using a MacBook Pro. But let me go to
Hey,
my channel. Okay, and it shows me as live. Oh, but let me go to my channel. Oh, it works. There's the echo. Okay, and it shows me as live. Oh, but let me go to my channel. Oh, it works. There's the echo. Okay, and it shows me as live. Oh, but let me go to my channel. Oh, it works. There's the echo. Okay, and it shows me as live. Okay, it's working. Oh, it works. So it's showing me in the web browser. So okay, it's apparently working. I'm still live, but I've had issues before. Okay, so let me. I'm gonna close the web browser. I'm still live, but I've had. Okay, yeah, that's a weird echo because the audio comes out, but hearing that audio feedback is actually a really great thing for me because that means if I can hear myself coming out of the audio, coming out of the speakers, then that means that other people can probably hear me too. Let's see. And see, well, and see, I have a, yeah, I have a bar on here on my OBS software. OBS Studio is a really good software for streaming or recording. And because I'm not very familiar with the MacBook Pro, I'm not very good at it. But anyway, yeah, so I got OBS installed on MacBook, and it wasn't too hard to figure that out. So I'm just recording the camera. Now, I'm using this MacBook because it's the first time in a long time I've had a working laptop with a built-in camera. Because I have not been doing, like, videos since my other laptop failed me that had a built-in camera. And then the external camera that I used to attach just quit working, too, to the current computer I've been using. But now that I got this MacBook, it's a laptop with built-in camera, I can really get into it. Now, besides just talking technology stuff, I want to really begin my topic. Now, today's episode, which may not be properly reflected in the stream info, but I'm serious. I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna focus here. So today's episode is I go to church, but. Now, here's the thing. For this episode, I want to talk about why I go to church, but I don't go to church for the same reasons that other people do. Now, you have to understand, I was raised Christian. I grew up in church. That was kind of a big thing. And I've been in a lot of different churches, a lot of different denominations, and I had a lot of bad experiences, and I didn't go to church for 10 years. Now, the reason I'm going to church now is for many reasons. First of all, it's a great way to make friends. See, I have no social life. I don't have any social life, and most of the only time I see people is at work. So when I've been working, you know, when you work, you're forced to be around customers. You're forced to be around your coworkers. But I never had any social outlet outside of that. And so I started looking for a church, and I mean, I had to quit my job to be able to go to church because they wouldn't give me any Sundays off, in spite of my constant requests. So I went to Lee's Summit Christian Church because they are LGBT affirming. They have a progress flag on the website. I was very impressed. And I'm going to be going to church tomorrow for the third time. So the first time was amazing. The second time was also very amazing. And so I'm hoping to make some friends. And so I go to church, but that doesn't mean I necessarily agree with the entire religion behind it. And here's the thing about it. Now, if you are gay or transgender, you probably have been kicked out of your church, or you've probably been disowned by your religious parents or something like that, because that happens to a lot of people. If you're LGBTQIA plus whatever, you know, then people think, oh, you're a horrible sinner, you're going to hell, you know. That's what people think. And they think, oh, you're rebelling against God. God made you a man, and you shall be a man. You know, people talk like that. Well, actually, they don't talk exactly like that, but that's how they sound in my head when they talk to me. And so I think it's important at this time to recognize, like, well, okay, I came out as transgender when I was 31 years old. But today I'm going to come out as sort of a Christian. And what I mean by sort of a Christian is I'm about as much of a Christian as I am a woman. Okay? Okay, so yeah, I'm a woman, but I was born male. Yeah, I'm a Christian, but I don't believe everything in the Bible either. And it's weird, I spent like 10 years as an atheist, but then I met Honesty the Unicorn, and then All Heaven Broke Loose and everything. And what's interesting to me is, see, I have conversations with Honesty the Unicorn in my dreams, and and sometimes when I used to work in the floral department, I used to be washing buckets on a Sunday morning, and I was sad I couldn't go to church, but I would talk with Honesty the Unicorn. It's my form of prayer, meditation, call it what you will, but I talk with Honesty the Unicorn in Animal Sanctuary. It's my dream world, and if you want to know more about that, I have written books on that subject. But one thing Honesty recently reminded me is that I never let other people define me in the past. I never let other people tell me what gender a presentation or identity I can be. So why would I let other people tell me that I can't be a Christian? Because before in the past, I've said many times, like, well, I'm not allowed to be a Christian. In fact, I was talking with a lesbian that I was playing RuneScape with, and she's cool. She's an artist, but so I mentioned something about how, well, I go to church, but I'm not really allowed to be a Christian, and she's like, well, I'm not either. But the thing is, she has Bible studies, and I guess she is sort of a Christian. But when you're gay, that's hard, And me being transgender is a little bit weird too, because the thing about being transgender is that it's okay. There's a few things that are similar about being transgender as being gay, but for one thing, being transgender is a lot harder to hide than being gay, because you can be gay without anyone finding out, and it's totally possible to be gay and celibate too, so not have any sexual relationships. Therefore, nobody finds out you're gay. But being transgender is a little bit it's a little bit different, because when you're transgender, you feel like you are, you feel like, in my case, I can only use my own experience, my own example, but I always felt more like a female. And I was screaming at God when I was like 12, 13, 14 at the creek. I was screaming at God of why he didn't make me a girl, because it would fit so much better, because then I could be friends with girls without them thinking that I had a crush on them or wanted to have sex with them, because I don't. And my interests were a little bit more female typical in some ways. In fact, the only interest that I have today that, or ever really, that are considered male typical is the fact that, well, I'm into video games and computer programming, but when talking about computer technology, when talking about computer programming and video games, that's an area where male and female are equal. Men or women can play video games. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. And anybody can be a computer programmer, because computers don't discriminate. People do discriminate, but computers don't. And so when I was younger, I was always a very autistic person, obviously, with obsessive interest in certain video games, and I like to go down in the creek and irrigate the water, play in the woods. I was always very much a loner, and part of that was by choice, but part of it was not. Truth is, I've had very, very few friends in my life, and that's why I'm going to church. See, I'm coming full circle. I'm bringing it all back into the reason for this episode is that I'm going to church to hopefully make new friends. That's kind of what I'm planning to do. And I know there's going to be certain issues that arise, because in most churches, they will not allow gay or transgender people because they think you're rebelling against the way God made you. But here's the thing is, by wearing glasses, I'm rebelling against God according to some people, because he made me blind. I mean, not totally blind. I can see, but everything's blurry. In fact, everything's really blurry because I'm super nearsighted. See, here's the thing is, people say that because you were born a certain way, like because you were born male or female, that you should just stay that way. And they're like, well, God made you to be a man, so what, you can't identify as one. Well, first of all, we can identify as whatever we want. Now, we can't make other people respect it, but here's the thing is, should I have just been like, no, I'm not going to wear glasses because the fact that my eyesight is bad means that, well, God wanted me to not be able to see. Well, that's stupid. Why wouldn't God want me to be able to see? And some people need glasses to help them see. Some people can't walk very well or walk at all. some people are born with legs that don't work and they need a wheelchair to get around. Is wearing glasses, or is using a wheelchair to get around when you can't walk, or using a car to drive long distances when you can't walk that far? Using a car, using a computer, using a cell phone, using a wheelchair, using glasses, all of these things are man-made things that people made to assist them when what God gave them, supposedly, is not enough. And I am a big fan. I am a big fan of the advances we made in science, like in some ways. I'm a big fan of computers. I'm a big fan of modern technology. So yeah, I am not Amish. I do like electricity. I like computers, obviously. And for me, the vast majority of people I've known in my life were never in person. They're people in faraway places. I got a friend in England. I had a friend in Portland who moved somewhere else. I forgot. I know people in Canada. I know people in New York. I know people in Minnesota. I know people in, like, I challenge you. If you look at my list of 5,000 friends on Facebook, I can bet that most of them are Chinese, and I don't talk to them because I don't know Chinese, but they play Love Nikki Dress Up Queen, which I also do. So, it's sort of like the old Farmville days. You add people on Facebook so they can be your friends in certain games that are connected to Facebook. So that's what it is. But I also have people I've done podcasts with. People may remember me from the days when I did the Free Will, Science, and Religion podcast. And that was some good times generally. There was George and Trick and Michael Walsh, and I forgot the names, and of course, let's not forget Jamie. Jamie's cool. We're still friends. But yeah, we did podcasts about the free will illusion, and it's really helpful. In fact, not too long ago, I heard from somebody who was a fan of the Free Will, Science, and Religion podcast, and they asked me my opinion on transhumanism. Because they had talked to Trick Slattery, because he knows about transhumanism and is in favor of that. I don't really know much about transhumanism, but all I did was express my opinion was that, well, it'll probably be something just for the rich, more about turning people into more machines to overcome the limitations of their body. And I feel like we're already on a kind of track with that. Like what I said, the very fact that we use computers, cars, cell phones, wheelchairs, glasses, hearing aids for the people with hard of hearing, we already use technology to assist us in the limitations of our human bodies. And I wasn't going to get on this topic, but think about it. By being transgender, well, I did that. Being transgender itself isn't a choice, but taking estrogen and trying to look more like a female, that's something that I guess you could call it a choice, but then again, there's no free will, so nothing's really a choice. But see, it goes down the rabbit hole. It goes deep down the rabbit hole. One thing leads to another. And so, as you can tell, I really have enjoyed doing podcasts with people because when we get into discussion, I remember when I was talking with George about the universe and consciousness, it was some cool, deep philosophical stuff. And then there's my good friend Pafo, where we talk about pantheism and talk about veganism and the connection we have with all life and the animals and all that good stuff. So I've had some really good podcast friends, and none of this would be possible without the internet. And although I love the internet and I love, being able to talk with people online, it's not the same as having people in person. Sure, I can play Minecraft with Jamie, for instance, and that's a lot of fun. And sorry I haven't played with you and talked to you more, Jamie. I'm very sorry about that, but life is chaos. But it's not the same playing with some person over the internet in England as it is just playing over at my friend's house 2 streets away, where we get on Minecraft or we play like N64 games. Like just last night we were playing Pokemon Puzzle League. Oh yeah, it was so good. It was basically like Panel de Pon, except with graphics and sounds of Pokemon. And if that sounds weird, trust me, it's very weird. But we were having a blast. And so I want that more personal connection, being in the same room with people, talking with people without having to worry about like, oh well, you can't hear them because the internet connection's bad, that kind of thing. And so I want to mix. I like the internet. I like being able to communicate with people over the internet and talk with people I would never meet. But I also want local friends. I also want to meet local friends here in Lee Summit. That's what I want to do, you know? And so that's why I'm going to church. And so that's the thing is I want to make clear that just because you are LGBT doesn't mean you can't go to church. I don't even know which parts of the Bible I believe or not, or how much of it's true or how much of it's just Bolshevik made up by humans. I really don't know. Um, but I go to church and I'm hoping to make some friends. And I can relate to some things because I do consider myself sort of a follower of Jesus. Except there's the whole thing about, well, Jesus ate fish. So Jesus isn't really vegan. And so I think Jesus is wrong for that. So that's the thing about it. I mean, you have to understand everything. I come at everything through a very specific lens. Like, so, me being vegan is actually the biggest thing. Like, the biggest thing that makes me different from most people is that I'm vegan. I don't eat animal products, and I also avoid wearing leather or wool or stuff like that because I don't want to exploit or hurt animals in any way if I can avoid it, And so that's a very important thing to me is veganism. However, the reason that my podcast is mostly focused on transgender issues at the moment is because I feel like what's going on right now with the media's very warped understanding of transgender people and all the laws that are being passed in certain states or countries against, people transitioning. Like, not too long ago, the Missouri Attorney General was trying to block people from being able to get their hormones or surgery related to transgender things. And the problem is there are a lot of people who just think that transgender people need to be eliminated. Like, I believe there was something close to that effect that Michael Knowles had said. But, the thing is, transgender people are just people like everyone else. And some of them need hormones, some don't. Some need surgery, some don't. And my experience is going to be different than other people's experience. And in my very first episode of I Am Transgender, but I explained a few things. I had a blog post, and you can listen to that. There's also a video, and I can totally refer people to the video I had done through StreamYard back then about that. But the main thing is that I'm not like every other person who's transgender. For me, being transgender is about being my true self where I don't have to, I can just be how I want to be. It's about being honest. So like if I want to say something or if I want to dance wild, I don't have to worry about someone saying, "Oh, well, don't do that cuz men shouldn't do that." And I remember the skating rink. Okay. My former friend who I used to go to the skating rink with, I remember I was dancing crazy to the music because, at Landmark to skate, which I believe is closed down now, but we used to go to the skating rink back even before the Navy. And I was dancing wild, what is love, baby, don't hurt me. I was dancing to the music they played. They play music while you skate. And I remember I was dancing really funny, and I think, I remember very specifically, actually, she said, don't dance like that because people are going to think you're gay. And I'm like, oh. And you have to understand, I was like maybe 19 or 20 years old at the time. And I'm like, would that be such a bad thing? Really, would that be such a bad thing? And like, really? Are you telling me not to dance the way I feel like the music moves me because of what people will think? And you know what? I remember how Honesty the Unicorn told me that I care too much about what people think. And the thing is, I think we all do. It's honest of me to admit that I care what people think of me. But at the same time, I've never I've never done something or not done something just because of my fears of what people would think of me if I did something or not. Um, so that's a very important thing to think, is that, like, when I grew out my hair, I was like 27, 28, and I just, I used to get buzz cuts, but then I just kind of stopped getting haircuts for a while, and I was growing out my hair, and as you can see, my hair is long. But I remember, at the time I was working at Hy-Vee, and there was this guy who stocked the Pepsi, and he says, are you ever gonna get a haircut?" And I said, "Nope." He says, "What? You trying to look like a girl?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "Okay then." So that's the thing. So if you grow out your hair, then, you know, people think that men shouldn't have long hair, which is dumb, because a lot of men who are men, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who are cisgender, normal, straight men, but they look good with long hair. Of course, I would say that because I'm just gay enough that I can appreciate men with long hair. I like men who look like women, like myself. But anyway, enough about that. But that's the thing, is that I just don't think, I think people need to do what they feel like. I mean, and recently, okay, just recently, not too long ago, well, I met a new friend, and they shared a video with me, I think a YouTube link about, and it was a video of Finn and Ashley. You may know Finster, or Finn. Now, Finn is interesting because Finn is not transgender. He is a cross-dresser. He is very much a manly man. He is a manly man with his manly voice, and he looks like a girl because he's good with makeup, and he has long hair and wears girly clothes sometimes. But but what I thought was so interesting about that is okay, Finn is a man very established in his masculinity, because, like, he cross dresses and does these live streams, and that's a bold thing to do, because there's a lot of people who criticize that. But he's like, "Yeah, I'm a man." He looks so much like a girl. Like Finn looks so much like a girl, but he's like, "I'm a man. I'm a dude." Like, that's, dude man. I'm a dude man, and that's what I like about Finn, is he's just so, he's cis. He's not trans, but he does a better job at presenting female than people like me who are trans do. Because I admit, I know I don't pass. I know I don't look like a woman, okay? And that's the thing, is I had to go through male puberty. My voice changed, so it's male sounding. And I'm not, I'll probably never pass as female to where people think that I'm a woman. Well, except pizza delivery people. But that's a whole other story right there. Yeah, sometimes they totally think I'm female. But anyway, but I'm happy by being myself. And regardless of the fact that I had surgery and I take estrogen now, and that's helped me feel a lot better about my body, that's not the most important part. That's simply a very added benefit. But I really, I'm just, I think that maybe having people like me who don't pass could actually be a benefit, because people look at me and they know I'm transgender. I mean, because I am weird looking. I am sort of weird looking. But people can probably tell that I'm trying to be more feminine. Well, not so much trying to be, but that's how I really am. But at the same time, I have certain interests that, like video games, that are considered male, which is dumb, because anybody can be a video gamer. So it's really dumb that people associate men being video gamers, but anybody can be a gamer. In fact, if you don't believe me that there are female video gamers, just get on Twitch a while. There's a lot of video gaming girls. But yeah, because that's most of what Twitch is. But anyway, I mean, I don't want to get too derailed onto other topics, but I also want my streams, my podcasts to be, free to be whatever it turns into. I'm really a little bit disappointed that I wasn't getting any viewers on this podcast, because if people would leave comments in the chat, I could totally, like, if they asked me questions in the chat, I could totally respond to that. Like, it would be so much fun. And so, and I know that being like a successful live streamer on any platform, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, whatever, I know that that's not easy. To really get noticed, to actually get followers and have a really entertaining show, that's actually really hard to do. Not everybody can do it. Some people, they have millions of viewers. You know, they go live, and then whoever happens to be live, available of their followers watches them live and comments. And so I'm hoping that I get more of an interactive show, because that would be so much fun to actually have a show like that. But the good news is that I can still download the recording of this off of Twitch and then upload it to YouTube and Facebook, where people will be able to listen to this after the fact and leave their own comments. And I do hope that I've covered today's topic, though, well, because the thing is, I go to church, but that doesn't mean I believe everything that other people in that church do. But I also feel like this church is more compatible with me because they're at least accepting of people like me. So that's important. But I specifically remember that, see, I used to work up at the GameStop in Independence back when I lived in Independence. And I remember that this one guy who worked there, he actually told me that when I had mentioned going to church, he thought that I was going to be anti-gay. He thought I was going to have a problem with him because he's gay. He thought that because I mentioned going to church. And so that's the thing, is that he thought that someone who goes to church is somebody who's very religious and they hate gay people. And that's what I used to think too. So I totally relate to that feeling. But first of all, I'm obviously not normal, and I may go to church, but that doesn't mean I hate gay people. Not at all. And with me being transgender, a lot of people, they don't realize what I am. They don't know if I'm male or female, and a lot of them just assume I'm gay. And well, I am, but not in the way they think. But that's a whole nother episode. Like, seriously, that's a whole nother episode right there. And I just have unlimited topics to talk about, but I thought this would be a really good one. Just talk about, how I go to church, but that doesn't mean that I can't be transgender. It doesn't mean that I have to believe everything in the Bible. And for the most part, I'm just looking for friends, but I also don't mind hearing these people as they talk about what it means to them to be a follower of Jesus. And I think in general, being a follower of Jesus is a good thing. And if you really follow the teachings of Jesus, you won't go around being mean. You won't be kicking out your gay or transgender children because of who they are, and you won't be giving people hell in this life, regardless of whether or not you think people go to hell after they die. That's no reason to give them hell in this life. And that makes sense to me, I mean, so, just as I've been transitioning to be closer to female, I've also been slowly transitioning to be more of a Christian. And the thing about it is, yeah, I don't pass as female, but I don't really pass as a Christian either, because I'm a little bit different, and I don't necessarily believe everything that's taught in the Bible. I don't necessarily believe everything that's taught in church. But at the same time, I'm not an atheist anymore either. I do believe in God, but there's a lot that I don't know, and there's a lot that I don't claim to know. And I'm never one who tries to push religion on people. I'm not that kind of person at all. But I find it really inspiring that so many of the people that I meet in the transgender support groups and stuff on Facebook, a lot of them do believe in God. A lot of transgender people are Christian or some other kind of religion. And so transgender people are not all atheists. Gay people are not all atheists. And what you feel your gender identity or sexual orientation is does not indicate what religious beliefs you're allowed to have or not. So you know what? Be gay if you want to be. Be transgender if you want to be. Be a Christian or an atheist if you want to be. You know, you do you. You be happy for you. That's the thing, you know. And I want to encourage everyone to do what's right for them and to not try to please people. Don't stop dancing because somebody else tells you, well, people will think this if you dance. You know, like, really? Really now? You know, I just like it. I like being myself. I like being able to just talk honestly about things. That's what I want to encourage everyone to do. And I hope that if anybody does watch this video later, that they will get that message. You know, I really hope that they will get that message. And I will continue doing future episodes of this series. I'm going to do streams, but then I will extract the audio later, try to turn it into episodes of my audio podcast. Because I do have an audio podcast that I started. It's called I Am Transgender But, and you can find it on iTunes if you search for it. And possibly Spotify or Stitcher. I'm still not very good about, knowing how podcasts are published to various sites, but I have been working on getting it published so it's well known and out there. And also, my hair is weird. You know how, actually the hair is the same length on both sides. But anyway, that has nothing to do with what I was talking about. But I'm getting excited, and sometimes my mind wanders when I get super happy. But anyway, let's see what time it is. It's 3:30. And yeah, it's about 3:30. And so I think what I'll probably do is I will end this stream, and maybe in the future I will be able to do another stream, and because I would like to talk about other topics. And the thing is, if anybody watched this video, I don't care who you are, if you have a topic that you think I should talk about in my next episode of I'm Transgender But, comment away, and let me know, because if there's a certain topic that's important to talk about, how it relates to transgender people, then I would love to talk about that. In fact, I would love to have guests on this show. Sure, it's a little bit more complicated to have guests on a show like this, but I have managed it before because I also know how to use StreamYard, so I can have guests all over the internet. It's just a lot harder doing that over the internet than rather than having someone in the same room with you. But I have done it before, and I hope to have guests on my show in the future and do successful live streams and answer a lot of questions. Because I'm trying to I want to educate people, but I also want to entertain people and start my comedy career. So, as I usually say at the end of my episodes, be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!